Hello everyone, I'm so happy to see you all again. Today I'm going to read a few more entries to you. The last time we only managed to do one. Today I also want to give you a bit of context as to my route. So I started from Kuala Lumpur and my plan was to go up to Thailand and then Burma, and from Burma to cross over to China. And from China I would go over to Tibet and then down to Nepal and to India, and my plan was originally to travel all the way to the UK overland, but eventually I ran out of money when I was in India, so I had to take a flight to London and start work almost immediately. So that's the context, and today I'm going to read to you the next entry, which is 1st of August 1997, and this was written in Jiao Tong Guest House, and it's in Yecheng. In those days, I know I use this phrase a lot, I should look up some synonyms for this. In Yecheng, in those days, it was very undeveloped. I don't know whether that's a politically correct expression. I saw some recent videos about Yecheng. I was actually surprised to find anything about Yecheng. I found that it has developed quite a lot, and I was again quite surprised. So this is what I wrote. Arrived in Yecheng, asked at the restaurant for a truck to Ali. I have been looking at the map for the city of Ali, but I can't seem to find it. I don't know whether I have been hallucinating in those days, but I wasn't doing any drugs, I promise you.
I would like to insert this picture here to prove that I was not hallucinating. Ali does exist. I received this postcard in 1999, 2 years after my trip, from a guy called Warwick. I met him at the end of the trip, and he wanted to do the same route as the one I did. And he ended up in the same place called Ali, so it must exist. Anyway, as you can see, I did make it to the UK in the end. And if you don't know by now, my name is Sumei.
I found an old map that I used when I was traveling, and maybe I will show bits of it to you later. So asked at the restaurant for a truck to Ali and was told that it cost 1,500 yuan per person. 1,500 yuan was a lot of money to me at that time, so there was no way I could have done it. Asked around town afterwards, but only found a jeep for 3,000 yuan, so that's even more expensive.
And here I would like to insert these two pictures because I was talking about a jeep, and when Warwick did the trip, he could not get a truck to take him. They all refused to take him. His only option was to go on this jeep, and he didn't like it, and the reason was that he had to share the small jeep with 11 Chinese passengers. It was very uncomfortable. So even though my truck was uncomfortable, perhaps it was still better than his jeep, and a lot cheaper for sure. So going back to the story.
Few people speak Chinese here. Yeah, they were Uyghurs, so they had their own Arabic language. And others are reluctant to take foreigners. In brackets, I wrote the fine is hefty. I'm not sure whether it's mentioned anywhere else in my diary, but they were not allowed to take foreigners on their trucks. And if found, there would be a hefty fine. And if any foreigners were found dead on their vehicle, it was death penalty. That's what I was told. I don't know how true it was. We went to other hotels, Bin and I, to look for foreigners, but there were none. I'm sure there are some foreigners in Yecheng today, but on that day, there were none. Bin and I seem to be the only foreigners here. Met an Uyghur man whose brother had a truck going to Ali today, so he spoke a little bit of Chinese so I could communicate with him. He said he may or may not come to pick us up depending on circumstances. There were no mobile phones, there was no way we could have communicated, so the only way was to wait for him, but as you will see, we didn't. I didn't think he would turn up, brackets, actually he did, but we weren't around, so he left without us. So we went to the truck depot in Aliban. 7 kilometers away to inquire. Aliban is a very small place. There are just trucks and nothing else. It's like a truck stop. It's different from Ali. Ali is the place that we want to get to, but Aliban is much smaller. Found a driver, Mr. Yang, so he is Chinese. Actually, I'm not sure whether that's a correct way of, or a politically correct way of referring to them. He's a Han Chinese, as opposed to an Uyghur Chinese.
So there are 55 ethnic groups. That's a lot. Han is the main ethnic group. And then you have Zhuang, the Huis. They are also Muslims. Manchus are in Manchuria, the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. We have the Miaos and the Tibetans in Tibet, of course. The Mongols in Mongolia. Then we have the Yi people, the Dong people, and some Koreans as well.
Mr. Yang is Han Chinese, and he agreed to take us to Ali for 300 yuan each, so that was a good price. He will be picking us up at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, so we had to wait one day. I wonder how I will react to the high altitude. The altitude was something that was talked about quite a lot, and I was rather worried about it. The next entry was also written in Yecheng on 3rd August 1997. The night before, Bin jumped into my bed and shocked me out of my sleep. I had to get up and chase him out of my bed, and it wasn't easy. I still remember that incident. I have no idea why he did that. I didn't give him any signals, mixed or otherwise. I don't know what he was thinking. If you're a guy and you think you know what he's thinking, can you please leave a comment below? What else do I remember? It took me a long time to convince him that I didn't want him in my bed. He wasn't aggressive or anything, but he really wanted to stay. And finally, when he left the room. We were sharing a room. Like I said before, there were many beds in the big room. He left the room and he didn't come back for many hours. I think he only came back in the morning, and he smelled like cigarettes. Anyway, the next day we pretended that nothing had happened and got on as usual. We are in the middle of nowhere and there's not much else we can do. He seemed really embarrassed the next day, so I didn't want to bring it up. If I was somewhere else, I don't know, I might have confronted him. I might have done something about it. But we were in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't really know what to do. I mean, what would you have done? At 7 p.m., we were all ready and waiting for Mr. Yang, but he did not turn up until 9:30 p.m. and said he would only be leaving a day later. That's the end of that entry. The next one is written in Aliban. If you remember, Aliban is the truck depot where all the trucks are. And this was written 4th of August 1997. Waited till 9 p.m. yesterday, but Mr. Yang did not turn up. We went to Aliban to look for another driver, but no one was willing to take us. Foreigners are officially not allowed to take this route. Yeah, like I said, that route was not legal. I think the only legal overland route was from Chengdu to Golmud to Lhasa via coach, if I'm not wrong. But you also had to pay for a permit. I can't remember how much it was. It was quite a lot. But the thing was that I was still very young and innocent and naive, and I felt strongly about not contributing that money to the Chinese government to repress the Tibetans further. And I thought that my little bit of rebelliousness would make a difference. Foreigners are officially not allowed to take this route. I saw some adverts on the internet offering to take foreigners on this route today, so it's probably open to foreigners now. There is a possibility that we will die because of the high altitude, And the penalty for having a dead foreigner on board is death. I have written home to Sulin, my sister, to tell her to burn my diaries if I do not survive. I think I told you that in the last video. I will stop here for now, otherwise it's going to be too long, and I will include some photos again. I promised that I would show you this old map that I used, so let's have a look. So this is the Nels map, and it is still in very good condition even though it is almost 30 years old. So here we have China, and then going down here, this is Tibet here. So I started from up here. I think Kashgar should be out of the map, and Yecheng, it is here. So this is where I look for a truck to go to Ali. I cannot find Ali, as I said, I cannot find it on the map or the internet, but I have circled this here which says Gargunsa, and I suspect that is Ali. I don't know why there are some red lines here as if they are proper roads. As far as I remember, there were only dirt roads and rivers and things like that. I think Mount Kailash is here, and Lake Manarosova is here. So then I will continue to Sagya or Saga, and then we have Shigatsu here, and then finally Lhasa. So after Lhasa, I would head down to Nepal. So this is Nepal, and then from Kathmandu I would go to Varanasi, to Delhi, and then around here Agra, Jaipur, and then go up to Shimla, Manali, Dharamsala. I wanted to go to other places, but I spent too much time in Dharamsala. I did go up to Srinagar though, and then finally I came back down to Delhi, and then flew to London from Delhi.
Here are some beautiful pictures, and they are not mine. I found them on Pexel, and they remind me of the route that I took, and I have decided to use them here. So please enjoy them. I do remember the route being just a dirt road, and I got very dusty at the end of the trip. We also had to drive over some rivers. I will read one of my entries later, and they can be quite dangerous when the river is swollen. The landscape is absolutely stunning, but as I've already told you, I was not really there for the scenery or the experience. I was on an emotional journey, and later on, perhaps even a spiritual one. That's all I've got for now. Do join me again next week.
Please like and subscribe and join me in the next video. See you soon.